Good afternoon. Okay, sometimes you might be a claimant who's deciding that you want to have an attorney or a non-attorney rep represent you on your Social Security disability claim. This often happens later in the day after you've been denied once or twice. Then the person starts thinking, oh, maybe I need a lawyer. Separately and aside, I think it's better to get one before you start, but that's a whole nother issue. So what happens if you're calling around and you're trying to get an attorney and you can't seem to get one that will jump on board? There could be a variety of reasons, but let's just go into it a little bit. You have a right to seek and secure an attorney if you can, of course. The SSA has to let you do that. The SSA, however, does not provide you with an attorney, and no attorney is required to represent you. So while you have the opportunity to go and find one, retain one, whatever, if you have the goods, you don't have a right to force anyone to represent you, right? So why would an attorney not want to take your case? Each case is going to stand on its own, but usually, assuming you're calling a Social Security attorney and not just an attorney that does other things and may not be very well experienced or knowledgeable on Social Security, maybe they just dabble and it's not their heavy. By and large, an attorney is not going to want to take your case if it does not appear to have sufficient potential to prevail. There are some generic factors that kind of scream out at a lawyer that the case would be most likely, strongly most likely. I'm not even saying 51%. I'm saying 99% not going to prevail. And that would be why. That could be the nature of the impairment itself. It doesn't appear that it would knock out all 12,000 occupations that you are tasked with knocking out. And then that is the by and large answer for all of these type of situations where you can't seem to find an attorney willing to take you on. The younger you are, it's probably the burden of proving that you can't do all of the 12,000 jobs due to your medical impairments is more difficult. That's because there's not any, I don't want to call them loopholes, but there's not any considerations of age and how age would impede your ability to take one of those other jobs different from the one that you were used to. So that's where that whole over 50 and under 50 dichotomy comes in, where over 50s may find it that they can get a lawyer for particular impairments and limitations that a younger person might not be able to find a lawyer to represent them on. And it's a shame. I mean, I feel for you greatly. But the first thing you're going to want to do is say, am I unable to do every single job out there full time? Or is it that I don't feel experienced in all of them, and therefore I feel I can't do it for that reason? If it's the experience reason, but some you believe you could do despite your physical or mental impairments that you're claiming to be disabled under, if you feel like it's your experience that's holding you back, like, well, I've never done that before, I clearly couldn't do a desk job, that's not going to work, because there's something called unskilled jobs that don't require you have any experience whatsoever. They're, in all essence, I always say a fifth grader could do them. So that if you're always looking, if you ever look at it as, well, I can't do that job because I'm just not good at desk work, or I can't use computers, I don't know how to type, that's not going to work, because there are many, many jobs that don't require that, or if they do, it's the type of thing you can learn in a number of days. So, pardon me, I'm very hoarse. I really think it's allergies. I think it's from the smoke from the Canada fires, although it's looking much better out there. So yeah, it's generally going to be because your vocational factors, your vocational profile, which includes your age, education, and experience, is not on the favorable side. That means you're under 50 by and large. So, what are you to do? You might have to do it on your own. Some of us take them when we see there is a potential at some point to prevail, even if it won't necessarily be on the first application. And then, of course, there has to be avenues for other applications. That means your DLI, date last insured for Social Security disability, is not yesterday or tomorrow, but further out in the future. Or it means that even if there is no Social Security disability for you because of, your term insurance expired because you haven't been working, are you an SSI candidate? So some of us look a little deeper and do take younger people, but I'm going to say by and large, it's going to be your youth and the fact that you're not wheelchair bound or the equivalent in terms of such a severity of medical impairments, single or plural, physical and or mental. You got to realize that the attorneys don't get paid unless they win. So they are literally donating their time all the time. There's massive amounts of pro bono, even in the best of situations, because even when you prevail, you're not getting paid a fee commensurate with the work provided. So those of us that do it, usually it's because we really just like to do it. It does make a living perhaps, but not the kind that you would expect or that, people presume attorneys will all make, because we're not driven by the same dollar goal as other attorneys by and large. Certainly not those of us that are exclusively focused, I would say, as a general rule. Maybe those that just tack it on to their other practices, that wouldn't be so. Anyway, so that is why the attorneys are not taking your case, because they don't think that they can earn anything. Now, it could be also based on the earnings that they think they're not going to make. You could have a winning case, but it's still not going to produce earnings for the attorney who does all the work, because there are feeless cases. It's just the way it is. So some of those are just known pro bonos. Some of us will take it because we know we can help the person get their life back in terms of finances, at least minimally, even though there's not going to be a fee coming our way. It's just one of those, volunteer things you do. But that's still going to be slim, because every attorney needs to make a living, there's no big brother giving us a salary, just for doing it. We have to earn every penny through the fee system that the SSA regulates. So while I think most attorneys are gracious enough to do their share of volunteer pro bono hours, there obviously has to be a limit, which is why they're not necessarily taking on any willfully, because they already know that some that they've already taken on that could have gone either way are going to be a pro bono case in the end. Okay. So that's why some attorneys simply won't look at you either, regardless of the vocational profile we're talking about. If you haven't been going to a doctor and multiple for every single impairment and specialist robustly for the last year plus, they're gonna say, no, you don't even have the evidence right now. Come back when you've actually lifted a finger on your own behalf and gotten that medical evidence, because they can't do anything for your case if they don't have the tools needed. And one of the tools needed is you going to the doctor and specialists and following up and being really, really, really an advocate for yourself by getting all that treatment, diagnosis, conservative therapies, serious therapies if needed, whatever is appropriate for your impairments, and not forgetting to also go after the impairments that you don't even think are the ones that took you out of your job. Because guess what? Remember, there's 12,000 plus other jobs that we have to prove you can't do. So those little impairments are going to carve out some of those weird ones you're not thinking about. Okay. There are videos. I have a video, maybe I'll link it up, about treating for all impairments. There's another one, I think, about all the best things you can do before you even start a case. Maybe I'll link those at the end here. It'll help you. It'll help you whether you have an attorney or not. It'll give you a little knowledge and information of what you really want to be doing to make it a smoother path for you. Okay, I'm definitely losing my voice. Anyway, just wanted to share that. When you can't find an attorney, there's usually a reason. Okay, don't stop trying, but you might have to start doing some things to make your case have a fighting chance. And then a lawyer might come on and contribute his legal efforts for you. Okay, take care. Bye now.